Good morning, friends. Today we are now going to discuss about the Penck cycle of erosion, which is one of the important concepts provided by the Walter Penck after the development of model by Davis of geomorphic cycle. And Penck criticized the Davis model and provided new concept on the cycle of erosion. Walter Penck was a German geomorphologist and presented his morphological system or morphological analysis of the landscape development. Penck's contribution to geomorphology is truly enzymatic, and he is probably the most misunderstood geomorphologist in the world because of his ill-defined terminology, uncertain depth, and misleading review by W. M. Davis. So the Penck concept basically depends on the characteristics of the landform of a given region and are related to the tectonic activity of the concerned region. Tectonic activity. According to Penck, the geomorphic forms are an expression. Geomorphic forms are an expression of the phase and the rate of uplift in relation to the rate of degradation. So Penck suggested that the geomorphic forms are an expression of the phase and the rate of uplift in relation to the rate of degradation. So there are some basic assumptions that is considered by Walter Penck to develop his model. That is, surface is the result of two important forces, that is enzymatic or internal forces and exogenetic or external forces. Second, the shape and intensity depends on the rate of incision, and shape and intensity of landform development depends on the rate of incision and removal of debris. Right. shape and intensity depends on the rate of incision and the removal of debris. Penck suggested that the upliftment and erosion are coexistent. Upliftment and erosion are coexistent, that is, go hand in hand. He explained the tectonic movement and caused by crustal information. These are some basic assumptions that is considered by Walter Penck to develop this model. Distance or velocity of uplift curve. Velocity of uplift curve. This is the altitude of main valley. Bush-Jugan or gravity slope. Heldenhang or Waslow. Inselberg. Next is the Endram. However, in Penck model, Penck used the term Entwicklung, meaning thereby development. Where the W.M. Davis used as stage. So Penck used the term Entwicklung for the development of landform in his model, and he used the 3 stages of the development. One is abstehende Entwicklung, abstehende. Second is gleichförmig, and third one is the abstehende. These are the 3 stages that is used by Walter Penck to develop this model. Now coming to the abstehende Entwicklung. This is the phase of waxing or accelerating stage of the landform development. Waxing or accelerating stage of the landform development. Here the slope is convex and upliftment is greater than degradation. This part. Therefore, the altitude increases. That is the considerably, that is absolute and relatively, both are increasing in this stage, and this stage is known as the prima rump, which is known as the prima rump. Next is the gleichförmig Entwicklung. This phase is known as the uniform development of the landform. And this stage, here the upliftment has started to decrease. However, upliftment is continuing, but there is a lot of downcutting started. And nearly the upliftment is ended and the degradation is continuing in this stage. And the last stage, that is the abstehende Entwicklung, this phase is known as the warning stage of landform development. According to these stages, there is no more upliftment is occurred, but the degradation is continuing in this phase, and the lateral erosion is more dominating in this stage. Landforms are progressively declining as the progressive decline in both the absolute and relative relief. As a result, there are 2 types of slope has been found in this stage. One is known as the Bostwigan or gravity slope, that is the upper high slope, and the lower slope, that is known as the Heldenhang or wash slope by W.M. Davis. Finally, the lower region, which is known by Davis as a peneplain, termed by Penck as entramped, and the small hard landforms are developed, which is known as Inselberg, whereas W.M. Davis has stated that this is a mononomial. So there are several merits and demerits of this Penck model. Penck model of landform development was conceived in an orderly manner and could remove many difficulties that is created by deviation. Penck concept is based on deductive method in the evolution of the landform development. His model is more practical than Davis model, and according to Penck, the erosion and upliftment both go hand in hand, whereas Penck stated that after the completing of upliftment, erosion will be started, which is one of the he is unable to explain. So there are some demerits of Penck's model also, like due to his ill-defined terminology, so many informations are unable to extract. Penck do not include the riverism, lithology, and structural characteristics of the rock. In his landform development, he overemphasizes the long continued process of tectonic activity. And he also not considering the climate, which is taken important role for the landform development. So these are some basic demerits of Penck's model. However, his model is very truly enzymatic and probably take an important role for the landform development, having a worldwide attention of the geomorphologist and geoscientist. Thank you for watching this video.